And now, from inside a pair of 3D glasses, it's the IGN Digigods. Please welcome, won't you, the girl with the dragon tattoo, Wade Major, and Mark Kaiser.
Aw, you're turning into an air drummer. I like that.
I like the end of our song.
You like the end of the song?
Yes, I do.
Well, that's good then. That's our intro music from Ball and Chain, by the way, who have some live gigs coming up in Los Angeles. So if you live in L.A., let us know. You might be able to go see Ball and Chain perform live.
How do you know them? Like a rock band doesn't seem like the type of thing you would know.
Ball and Chain, one of the principles of Ball and Chain.
Is that ball or chain?
No, it's neither. One of the principles of Ball and Chain, Charles Bunce, is a very, very old and dear friend of mine. And we grew up. I'm a bit older than he is, but we grew up.
Most people are.
Yeah, we grew up. Same milieu, same area, same friends, and so forth. And he actually worked on one of my film school projects.
What?
Yes, absolutely. The all-nighter in the set that we built on the soundstage at UCLA back in a year that I won't mention.
When you were shooting on 16 millimeter.
Actually, yeah, we were. We were shooting this one. I can't remember if we were shooting this on 16. May have even shot this one on Super 8.
But don't you know that your UCLA script is only good if you can shoot it on a red?
Yeah.
That's the only way it could be good.
Yeah, that's the way it is now.
Exactly.
It's sad.
Speaking of sad, Wade.
Sidney Lumet. We lost him this week.
I was sitting in the yogurt store.
Yeah.
I checked my iPhone, and it says Lumet died, and I got very upset. I really did.
You're a big Lumet guy.
He was like an idol of mine. I mean, he was such. You know what? Not only was he a great New York director, but what I loved about Lumet is that he had this anti-style style. You know what I'm saying? He had this anti-style style where he was never that showy. He was always very, he shot on location.
Well, he's one of those guys who, there was a great piece in the LA Times about it, about the fact that he loved dealing with moral ambiguity and that his films were ultimately about humanity and what makes us human. And if you think about it, I mean, just take a handful of the movies. 12 Angry Men, okay, is really about a crisis of conscience. You look at The Verdict, similarly, a crisis of conscience. You look at something like Failsafe, which is basically Dr. Strangelove without the jokes. Well, what is Dr. Strangelove without the jokes? It is a much more serious, less cynical film about a crisis of conscience. His films are about those forks in the road that we all hit where there is no obvious right and there is no obvious wrong, and you sort of have to dig deep into the metal of what it is to have character and find a way out. And I think that's why the films are popular, because they put you in a place that people don't often encounter in life.
Well, one of his last great films was actually half a great film and half a largely unsuccessful love story, which was Q&A.
Yeah. And
Q&A with Timothy Hutton and Nick Nolte, that was also very much where Timothy Hutton plays this idealistic guy who comes up against this brute force played by Nick Nolte, who's a corrupt cop.
Yeah.
And Timothy Hutton has to decide whether, this corrupt cop who is corrupt basically for the good of servicing the city.
Yeah.
Where does he, is it worth the corruption to get to like the end of crime? Or
now, obviously, we can all make a top 5 of Sidney Lumet films. They're almost all going to include, The Verdict and Network and Dog Day Afternoon and Serpico. And I mean, there's any number of them. The guy made so many great films. It's unbelievable. What's your favorite?
I would have to say probably The Wiz.
Yeah, of course you would.
Can you believe he did The Wiz?
Yeah, I
can. What was that about?
I don't know. He had a chance to do something different.
I mean, I have to say Network only because the thing with Network, and I was explaining this the other day to somebody, which was, you watch Network today in the scenes where these, where the network is taking pitches for new shows, and these civilians walk in and they say, let's do a show about these just regular people, and they say, that's crazy, and you go, well, that's just reality TV. Yeah. Well, yeah, it is just reality TV, but you know what? This movie came out 30 years before reality TV, and in the movie, there's all sorts of TV networks. It's not just the big three.
Yeah.
There's other networks, too. And you look at the movie today, you're like, oh, well, so what? There's other TV networks. Well, you know what? This film was 30 years ago.
It was prescient.
Yes, it was.
It was prescient.
Yes, it was.
I'd have to say my favorite, it's almost a tie, and it's a weird tie. It's going to be a tie between Serpico, which I just think is just so unbelievably great in so many ways, and you're going to laugh. Garbo Talks. I love Garbo Talks. I think that is a sweet, deeply affecting movie.
You know, I'm actually going to go off the charts.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to say now this is not one of my favorite City Limit films, but it's a terrific film, and I thought it was really funny. And I'm not saying it's a great one of his films, but it tends to be a little overlooked, which is Death Trap.
That's an interesting one.
I thought Death Trap was funny with Michael Caine. Remember that one?
I do.
And
very
Christopher
much.
Reeve? Well,
Yeah, which they
Christopher
remade. They remade with Kenneth Branagh directed the remake, didn't he?
Did they?
Oh, gosh,
That's
it was
dreadful.
Yeah.
We said dreadful at the same time.
Yeah.
And also Prince of the City. Who could remember the scene? Who could forget the scene in Prince of the City when Jerry Orbach storms into that guy's office and turns over his desk? It was the
great.
best scene ever.
Yep, rampaging extra. Except it was more like a rampaging supporting performance.
It was the rampaging Orbach.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to start off, and I'm going to blow through these very quickly, but I want to, Gaiam, good company. They distribute a lot of stuff for a lot of people. They do a lot of television stuff as well for TLC, Discovery Channel, Animal Planet, all that kind of stuff. But today, I'm going to shine a light on some of the lesser-known Gaiam titles.
Oh, great. Wait, I'm going to go ahead and just read the paper.
I'm going to blow through this because, you know what, summer's coming, and that means you got to get your body in shape. But it also means you need to get your mind in shape, mind and body. Mind and body. Gaiam does a lot of this stuff. So
now, is Gaiam a Goyim?
Gaiam is spelled G-A-I-M.
Oh, so Gaiam is not a Goyim.
No. So, first of all, Gaiam, for your mind, Gaiam has this series, a very interesting series called Portraits of Inspiring Lives. And each one of these is just a portrait of a certain person who has achieved something of significance, and you are supposed to, watch this and kind of channel their brilliance and be inspired by them. It is, it's pretty cool. I like them. I know it's all kind of self-help bookish, but why not? The first one here is Jack Canfield, who wrote the Chicken Soup for the Soul book series, and this guy, you can make fun of him, but I think he's got something. He's got something going on. Next one is Marcia Wieder. Now, you ever heard of Marcia Wieder?
Yeah, that's...
You don't know who Marcia Wieder is. You don't watch Oprah.
I do not.
No, you don't.
Why do you watch Oprah?
I don't watch Oprah, but I know who she is because I read the information on the DVD.
Wow,
Thank
you're
you.
truly in the know.
Well, she's like a regular on Oprah on Passion and things like that, and so you get her full little lecture deal here on getting the most out of your life. We also
when I want to get the most out of my life, Wade, I watch Oprah.
And then lastly of these is of the Portraits of Inspiring Lives is Bob Proctor, who wrote "You Were Born Rich." Now that's not true. I don't know many people that's true for, but Bob Proctor, probably the lesser of these three, the least interesting. But all three are pretty interesting.
Imagine being the least interesting of that bunch.
Here's what's more interesting for you, Mark. This is your buddy, Deepak Chopra. Grow younger, live longer. They all have this little purple border on them. It's really cool.
Because
Deepak
purple
Chopra.
is a very, it's a very.
You know what I like about Deepak Chopra?
Superstitious.
He's the guru who doesn't pretend like he is. He doesn't wear a robe. He doesn't put and he doesn't wear any of the weird stuff that gurus do.
I know
right?
where you were going, by the way, with that.
What? Yeah, totally. No, he doesn't do the guru thing. He doesn't do the guru thing, right? He's not like Maharishi Mahesh Yogi or any of those guys.
He's just a dude.
He's just a dude. He's Indian, which is sort of halfway to the whole Guru Swami thing. But
I saw him, and I saw him, and I was with a friend of mine who's very much into that stuff. He was sitting in a very expensive New York restaurant in Union Square, and he was just sitting there by himself, just having lunch.
All this is, he just talks about 10 steps to get hold of your life. And it's pretty simple stuff. It's really almost like common sense, but God bless him for going there. And then lastly, we have something that's much more kind of new agey. It's called Black Hole, WHOLE.
I don't get it.
Okay. And this is the central figure here is Nassim Haramein. And Nassim Haramein is an expert on the geometry of hyperspace, theoretical physics, quantum mechanics, and ancient civilizations. Now, that's from his bio. There is no possible way that I can actually explain to you what this is about other than the fact that it's sort of like taking astrophysics and relativity and elevating it to some kind of a weird metaphysical philosophy. A little too groovy for me, but interesting nonetheless. And it's only about an hour or so long, so it's sufficiently engaging. And then, once you have your mind in gear, here, Mark, in a rapid fire, here's what you can get. Okay. And what's interesting about this is that every single one of these features a woman in the artwork. Every single one. There's not a single one of these that doesn't have that has a man on it.
You know what? I wonder why that is. Wade.
Well, let's go through. We'll talk about it in a second. There is a Shape 5-day jumpstart, 5 complete workouts. You can get your butt and thighs and abs in order. Then we've also got Yogalosophy, which is 2 workouts. It's like a yoga toning thing, thanks to a yoga expert named Mandy Ingber. We've got Marie Windsor's Flat Abs Pilates. Now, Marie Windsor, she's like the Pilates queen. She's all about this. This is getting flat abs, 2 different workouts. I know you're loving this. Jillian Michaels, of Biggest Loser.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Ripped in 30. This is a 30-day diet plan.
30 months.
4 weeks, 4 workouts. The way to just get yourself totally smoking hot for the beach. Then there is 2 workouts on this one. It's the Firm Weight Loss System. Visible results in 10 workouts or less. Guaranteed, Mark. Guaranteed. Or else you get your money back. Trudy Styler's Weight Loss Yoga. This is 4 workouts on this one disc. Trudy Styler's another. She's like to yoga what Marie Windsor is to Pilates.
Well, Trudy Styler's married to Sting.
Well, thank you for pointing that out.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh hell yeah. She's married to Sting.
Well, then no wonder.
They've been married for many years.
No wonder he's so tantric. And then there is the 5-day Fit Trouble Zone Solutions. 5 workouts to get your glutes, your thighs, your hips all slimmed and toned up. Mark, you got to work on those hips.
I have to work on everything at this point.
And then from Prevention Fitness Systems, the 400-calorie fix workout. This is about getting your metabolism all juiced up, so everything just burns faster.
No, I was told I met somebody last night or a couple nights ago, and they said you should a dietitian.
Yeah.
She says you should eat every 2 hours, something.
Yeah, a little snack of something. It keeps your metabolism going.
Every 2 hours?
Yeah.
That seemed like a lot. I would think every 3 hours.
Nibble on
tops.
something. Nibble on something.
Every 2 hours.
That's why a lot of people
8, 10,
That's
12,
why a lot
2,
of people
4.
carry raisins with them. Have a box of raisins in the car.
I hate raisins.
Have a box of cranberries in the car.
That's not bad.
Keep a burger in the car at all times.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now we're talking.
Okay.
Keep a gigantic brownie.
In the glove compartment.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Scrape the mold off if you need to.
I would.
It would be fine. No, but this is the thing. On the Pilates stuff, I think Pilates is terrific. I'm going to have to really just get kicking on that one of these days. But I found it interesting looking at these. They're all geared toward women, Mark. Every last one of them all geared toward women.
Because women want to look younger and be more fit.
But wouldn't men want to look good for the women that are getting fit?
No, because men realize that women. Here's the thing. Now, I think this is evolutionary. The reason why pretty women always go, or sometimes go,
pretty women
go with like guys who aren't that handsome.
Fascinating.
Is because women
gently sipping coffee.
No, what? Women always go
little
for
night music, whatever it is.
Women always go for rich guys.
Always?
Now, why is that? No, guy. Oh, put it this way: women always from an evolutionary standpoint. This is how it works. Women look for guys who can protect and provide for them. Now, whether that means that they have the biggest cave, or whether that means they have the biggest bank account,
or the biggest spear,
or the biggest house, or the biggest spear, women look for guys who can provide for them. Men look for women who look like they can bear children. Evolutionary. That's why when men go for women who have large breasts or are pretty or tall, it means that they are they have more childbearing looks. This is in our evolutionary DNA.
Okay.
By the way, can I say something?
We've got. I'm sure we've got some gay listeners out there that would just be if we were taking callers. If this were a live show, they'd be dying to chime in. I'm sure. Well, because that's a whole different dynamic.
Well, but this doesn't apply to all heterosexuals.
Okay, I'm just saying.
I mean, it applies to homosexuals, but it applies to not all heterosexuals either. I'm saying generally from an evolutionary standpoint.
I hear you.
Now, wait, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
There is a movie coming out with straight to DVD with Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
It's called Bending All the Rules.
Yeah.
Now,
coming out in June.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's what you're thinking. Thinking Bradley Cooper? Hangover 2? Limitless?
Yeah.
He's the new it guy of all time?
Why does he have a straight-to-DVD movie?
Why is this going straight to DVD, Wade?
Yeah,
well, there's
I
a
don't know.
reason.
Yeah.
Because this film was done in 2002 under a different name.
Uh-huh.
In 2002,
it was called
Carnival Knowledge.
Uh-huh.
And now, because Carnival Knowledge is too out there and weird and strange, and it's not marketable. And what does that mean? Carnival?
Well,
that
bending all the
sounds like
rules.
fun.
Boy, bending all the rules, really, that tells me everything.
But Bending All the Rules, which is about as generic as it gets,
Yeah.
implies to a young, stupid audience that,
Yeah.
he's probably a lover who's going to bend all the rules and get love. Whereas Carnival Knowledge
Let me ask you
makes no
Let me
sense.
ask you a question. Seeing as that's coming out in June, isn't The Hangover 2 coming out in June as well?
Excuse me, I was
Drinking water.
vodka.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a drink in your whole life?
No.
Why not? Anything?
No.
Have you?
Water.
Have you ever had like vodka chicken? There's something like chicken.
I don't even like soft drinks.
I've never seen you drink a Coke.
I can't stand it. I don't like Coke, Pepsi. I don't even
Ginger ale?
No.
Mr. Pibb?
No.
Dr. Pepper?
Sparkling water. Juice, sparkling water, regular water, and Orangina. And that's it.
Orangina, that's sort of soft drink.
It is, but it's a Euro thing, so it's okay.
Okay, so basically, if Orangina was only available in the States, you would not be.
No. No.
But because it's French.
Yeah. I'm very twee that way.
You're out of your mind.
All right. TV, Mark, what do we got?
We have Dragnet, season 4.
Ah.
Now, who doesn't love themselves some Dragnet, right?
Jack Webb.
Huh?
Jack Webb.
Dragnet was a great show for the time. And what I liked about Dragnet is that it starred Harry Morgan. And Harry Morgan would, of course, go on to star in MASH.
I love the way that cops were depicted on this show. It captures a certain cop sensibility that we don't really have anymore. It's a whole gumshoe thing. It's almost postmodern noir. And Webb was a much savvier guy than I think a lot of people give him credit for being.
Postmodern noir?
Yeah, postmodern television noir.
Wow. Well, this is the final 26 episodes of this particular series. There's 4 discs on season 4.
Yeah.
And, by this point, let's face it, we're getting into the 70s. The show's becoming a little old-fashioned. Mm-hmm. You're starting to get into a little more, hip representations of cops and robbers. So really the show had run its course. But, it's fun. Why not?
It is a good show, and Harry Morgan is always great on it. I think he's better on this show than on MASH, to be honest.
What?
I do.
Yeah, you're my.
I was never a fan of MASH.
What? Oh, MASH is the best.
I know. So you keep telling me.
I mean, like the last six seasons was like a big pun fest.
Yeah,
but still, MASH is the. Oh my God, MASH was the best.
I know.
How dare you?
Everyone
That's
tells
an
me
outrage.
that. Yeah.
Out of your mind. Go.
You know what? Dallas. They just cannot keep. They just have to keep squeezing this thing for every last possible DVD exploitation. You thought you were done with Dallas, right? On DVD? Nope, not true. The Dallas Movie Collection is now out. That's right, folks. The Dallas Movie Collection. The show ran for well over a decade, straight through the 80s, late 70s into barely into the early 90s. But they've actually there were some movies involved in this. And I think I must have missed all of these. Anyway, there were these 3 feature-length movies, which included a prequel, and that's all now here on this fabulous set, which includes the retrospective Dallas Reunion Return to South Fork as a bonus. And you know what? They're all pretty damn old at that point. It's kind of sad. But you seen Larry Hagman lately? Man, it's sad.
I know he's got to be in his 160s by now.
It's something like that. It's not cool. The thing that makes me really sad is that I look at it and I don't go, wow, JR is old. I go, oh man, Tony is so old. Because I'm still on I Dream of Jeannie. That's still my touchdown.
Well,
but anyway, the movie
Tony was not my favorite character from I Dream of Jeannie.
Major Healy.
It was Major Healy
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. But see, that's also because we were big fans of the Bob Newhart show.
That's right.
And he was Bill Daly was great on the Bob Newhart show.
That
as
is
well.
right. He was my favorite.
What's he doing now?
Here's the thing. In that time, there were 2 supporting actors on sitcoms who I loved even more than the leads. You ready?
Yeah.
Bill Daly
Yeah,
and Ted Knight.
that's true.
Like,
That's good.
Ted Knight was the greatest on the Mary Tyler Moore
Yeah.
Show. I mean, Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
And Bill Daly, for whatever reason, was always my favorite
yeah.
on
I
Bob
agree.
Newhart.
I agree.
Good stuff.
He was the greatest.
Speaking of good stuff, actually now speaking of good stuff, Wade and I always rail against when DVD companies break up the seasons into volumes 1 and volume 2. Imagine, Wade, if there's a volume 3. iCarly season 2, volume 3, 15 episodes, 2 movies.
Here's an idea: just release one episode per disc.
Well, because they can't do that, because they want you to buy 3 different things, so that
Lame.
costs more money.
Lame.
They get more of not the girl's money; they get more of her parents' money.
Yeah.
Her parents' is money.
Yeah.
iCarly season 3 contains a bunch of crap. Goodbye.
All right. Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends was recently released in a complete collection, but they also realized when they released the complete
Hey,
collection.
there's good stuff over there. Oh,
Yeah, we're getting to it.
but there's just something I want.
We're getting to
I
it.
want something.
It was just us.
Yeah.
It's a gotchas. Okay, we're getting there.
You're mean.
Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. It's a great transfer, by the way.
No, it's
It's splendiferous.
I don't care.
Spectacularosity.
Because you're not giving it to me. I don't care.
Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends, before they released the complete collection, they had only released a handful of the original seasons, and then they went to the complete collection. And a lot of people thought, well, wait a minute, I bought the first few seasons, and now you release a complete collection. What am I going to do? I have to sell these and get the complete collection? No. Now they're kind of backtracking, and season 5, 33 episodes. It's very funny. 33 episodes or Moose Adventures.
They should take all of them.
Yes.
They should put them in a box set, and the box set should be in the shape of moose antlers. And then each little season should the discs for each season should be in one of the little antler horns.
You should be in marketing. Anyway.
Actually, with ideas like that,
I know.
proves that I should not be in marketing.
What they have done, though, the previous seasons were all released in these kinds of digipack packages that were not very well put together, and this is now finally in a nice, regular old keep case. It's solid. It'll fit nicely on the shelf. So if you don't want to go out and get rid of your current seasons and get the complete collection, you can do this. It's awfully fun. Jay Ward is still a genius, and the writing on that show is par excellence. Could I say that again? Par excellence.
You may say that.
Yeah.
May I say what's not par excellence?
Oh, you're just ripping on everything.
Well, oh, come on. It's Life Unexpected.
I know.
The first and second seasons of this terrible show is kind of a Gilmore Girlsy type thing. You know why it's a Gilmore Girlsy type thing?
Why?
Because it's on the CW.
Yeah.
And it's bad times. You know what? It's about this. It takes place in Portland. There's this radio DJ, and he's got a bunch of pals, and no one cares. Don't make me talk about this. Come on.
Okay, that's fine.
It's Life Unexpected.
Done.
Nobody cares. See, Wade, I'm willing to say whereas you have to go through all of these shows and do them and give them their due.
Yeah.
I have no such qualms.
That's
If
fine.
it sucks, it sucks.
You know what? Emergency, The Final Rescues from Universal. I don't know.
It was cool at the time.
Yeah, I guess it was cool at the time. This is when, it sort of coincided with Adam 12, and it's when television was trying to be a little more action-oriented, and they were going a little more on location, and a lot of cop and firemen and paramedic shows, but I don't know. It just feels old. It does. I used to watch the reruns occasionally, but I don't know if I can handle entire seasons and stuff with
It was
this.
never my favorite of those shows from that era. It was
I
fun.
agree.
And then Julie London in it, and she played it.
Well, the reason they call it The Final Rescues is this is like the last, not even a fraction of a season. It's like 9 hours worth of stuff. So, but anyway, it's there if you're a big fan. Friday Night Lights is a show that a lot of friends of ours really, really love. I have tried my best to enjoy it, and this is the 5th and final season, and this is my last chance at trying to enjoy it. Nope, just don't quite get it. The movie itself, the original movie that inspired all of this, directed by Peter Berg, didn't really do anything for me, and this doesn't really do it either. But you know what? It is well made. I give it that. Apparently well written, but just don't get into the characters. But there it is. The 5th and final season is available if you're a completist. If you haven't gotten the previous ones, nothing that I say is going to matter to you.
In Plain Sight is a USA Network show.
I actually kind of like this show. I like her, actually. I don't like the show. I like her.
Well, Mary McCormack, who made a big splash in the Howard Stern movie and has sort of, kind of futzed around ever since, hitting it here and there, but never really reaching escape velocity. Here she's got her own show. She plays a U.S. Marshal. She serves in Albuquerque, and she works for the Federal Witness Protection Program.
Albuquerque,
yes, and it's Wade likes the show. I think it's fine.
I like her, and I've always liked her. I've liked her since basically the Howard Stern movie, Private Parts.
I think that these USA shows mean well, but somehow they never quite reach the heights of the HBO stuff and the Showtime stuff.
Yeah.
But here we have season 3 of In Plain Sight. By this time, the characters are pretty well established.
That blows my mind. This has been around for 3 years. It feels like it debuted yesterday.
I know. Well, there's a lot of good guest stars this season, including Donnie Wahlberg, Allison Janney, and Steven Weber. It's okay. It's okay. And bonus features, deleted scenes, cast interviews, bunch of crap.
A couple of British things here, Mark. I'm going to go British on you just for a second. The BBC Tudors collection. Here's what this is. The BBC Tudors collection is taking advantage of the fact that The Tudors, starring Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, has been very, very popular on Showtime. So they thought, well, now that people actually understand The Tudors, now that they know what that means, maybe we can capitalize on this. So what they've done is they've thrown 3 separate BBC productions dealing with various phases of the Tudors dynasty into one set. These are not all made at the same time. They've all been released separately previously, but it's nice that they throw it all together and they're trying to exploit the Tudors name. What you get in here is The Shadow of the Tower, along with The 6 Wives of Henry VIII, along with Elizabeth R. Now, Elizabeth R., which features one of Glenda Jackson's most amazing performances ever as Queen Elizabeth I, is a really, really, really good miniseries. The 6 Wives of Henry VIII is also pretty darn good. Shadow of the Tower, kind of weak, I think. Nonetheless, if you love this kind of British stuff and you don't have any of these, or you might want 2 out of the 3, I'm sure the price really, you can probably get it on Amazon or something, and it's justifiable. But if you already have 1 or 2 and you feel like you've got as much from Henry VIII's family as you could possibly tolerate, I don't know that it really makes a lot of sense to get it. And then lastly, on the British end of things, the complete collection of Lark Rise to Candleford. I want to say that again, Mark. Lark Rise to Candleford.
God, that just sounds so British.
It sounds like it was made in Manhattan, right? Lark Rise to Candleford. You hear that? Yeah.
I'm thinking Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Albuquerque. This has been out previously in each of his little individual sets, but now they throw all 4 of them into the one big boxed set. And enjoy yourself some extremely British TV. It's a nice whopping set. Mark, what's that bobblehead thing in front of you?
Oh, H.R. Puffin stuff. Come on.
But that's been out before.
It has, but the H.R. Puffin stuff, the complete series, has not been out before in this great box set with a bobblehead. H.R. Puffin stuff bobblehead. It's awesome. Now, for those who don't know, Puffin Stuff was one of the great children's shows of the 70s. It is a combination of live action and, I guess, like puppetry.
Yeah, you know what? The Croft brothers were Puffin Stuff when they thought this up.
That is true.
This and Lidsville are both so completely and totally drug-oriented, I can't believe that parents at the time didn't pick up on it.
Well, his name is, after all,
Puffin Stuff.
What is the stuff
what
that they're
silly
puffing?
Bobblehead.
Supposedly, he says.
Lids.
But no, you know what? H.R. Puffin Stuff is great. You know, they had done this. They had helped work on the show called the Banana Splits Hour, and so after the success of the Banana Splits Hour, they were asked to develop their own Saturday morning show.
They were involved with the Banana Splits.
That's right.
I do remember that.
That is right.
La 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 la.
That's right.
Yeah,
so NBC asked them to develop a Saturday morning children's show, and they wound up with H.R. Puffin Stuff, and it's great.
When did this whole bobblehead thing start?
You know what? I remember seeing it in baseball promotions, but I don't know whether it existed before that.
It's maddening. I have a Marta bobblehead that I got.
Marta?
Marta.
Who's Marta?
Marta was is the great top female soccer player in the world.
Oh, God.
Played for the L.A. Soul before it folded.
Oh, Christ on a cracker. Nobody cares.
Let's go through some. Yeah, well, we'll finish off with the really good stuff over here. So we'll knock out a few of these docs real quickly. I know a lot of people out there are getting very, very excited about the royal wedding. I am not one of them.
Oh, not only am I not one of them,
Yeah.
but that day, by the way,
Yeah.
I work for a television, a cable network.
Oh, no.
That day,
Yeah.
I have to work from midnight till 4 a.m. Midnight till 4 a.m.
Are you serious?
Midnight. No, I have to work. Here's the thing. I have to work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.,
Right.
for a regular day. And then I've got to work from, then I have to come back. Hi, Wade.
Hi there.
Then I have to come back to the office at midnight
Yes.
and work until 4 a.m.
Wow.
Midnight till 4 a.m. And
That
then
sucks.
and then go home,
Yeah.
attempt to sleep. Now,
Yeah.
by 4 a.m., you're basically up for the next day.
Yeah.
You're not going to get to sleep. I will have
That
to.
blows.
I will have to come back to work about noon later that day.
Well, I'm going to make a really bad pun here.
Midnight to
I'm gonna-
4 a.m.
I'm going to make a good pun here. You're going to enjoy this. This is called A Royal Romance, William and Kate. An unauthorized tribute. An unauthorized tribute. This is just silly, drippy nonsense that was thrown together very quickly to take advantage, to exploit the whole nonsense regarding this thing. I don't know why Americans are so fascinated by this. I really don't. Maybe if we have any British listeners out there or anyone in Europe that has maybe a clue as to why Americans would be so fascinated by the British damn royal family, let us know.
I don't know why the British are. I mean, look, I understand the history of it, and the fact that the Queen is still alive.
Yeah.
She's like 80,000 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's just ceremonial.
I know.
They don't do anything.
No. But they have a lot of money.
Great.
And
so does Warren Buffett.
Exactly. Well, anyway, on the back of this, I was reading this, and it was like celebrating the British heir and the most breathtaking romance of the century. And I thought, celebrating the British heir, well, the British heir has no more British hair. Because, you know what? This guy should have gotten married like 7 years ago when he still had a good head. But these photos, not looking good. He's starting to look like his granddad at this point.
I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to honor that with a chuckle, even a courtesy chuckle.
British hair. Did you hear me? British hair.
I don't get it.
Hair. The Last Continent, narrated by Donald Sutherland. This is on Blu-ray. This is pretty cool. This is a 430-day-long HD odyssey that takes you all over the Antarctic. And is it as good as other documentaries about the Antarctic? Is it well, no, not necessarily, but it's great. It's nicely shot, and it's one of those things that you throw onto your Blu-ray player and let it run during a party or when you have having guests or a dinner party or whatever, and let them just kind of go, wow, look at the ice, look at the penguins, look at the big boat, look at the seals and otters and whatever else there is. No otters down there, but And then along with that, there's also a David Suzuki narrated complete series of Antarctic Mission on Blu-ray, which is a better documentary. It's better material in terms of being informative and educational. Probably not as compellingly shot. I think the other one has better photography. So get them both. Why not? Double up. And in honor of what I think is one of the better films of last week, Soul Surfer, the true story of Bethany Hamilton, the young. Well, she was 13 at the time when a shark bit her arm off, and she's now like 18, and she's a pro surfer with one arm. It's an incredible story. Go see it. Good movie. Did well at the box office this week. Well, in tandem with that, there's a great new Dana Brown film on Blu-ray called High Water. And High Water actually was out theatrically last year, and they, same people who made Step Into Liquid and Dust to Glory. I reviewed it on the radio at the time, and you know what? The Blu-ray is really, really terrific. This is about North Shore surfing competition, and it's just you got to be a surfer to enjoy it, or at least enjoy surfing footage. But it's all about the photography, the competition itself. A lot of surfers that I'm sure surfers probably know the names, but it's really very impressive photography. So you just got to tip your hat to it. Something I'm less certain about, Mark. Did you see Marwen Call by any chance?
I did not.
Do you know about Marwen Call?
It's a movie that is on DVD.
That's right.
A lot of people thought it was terrific.
Okay.
One person said it was as fascinating as documentaries can get.
Thank you for reading off the box. This is another one that I had to review on radio. It's out on DVD and on Blu-ray. There's no point in getting on Blu-ray, honestly. It looks great, but the movie just doesn't demand it. This is the story of a guy who was actually once beaten to within an inch of his life, and as part of therapy, he started making these little miniature dramas, which sort of recreated and reenacted in many cases his own ordeal, kind of symbolically, except you get like little Nazi miniature people and these little towns. Anyway, the whole thing is basically about this microscopic, or not microscopic, but miniature world that he creates with these things. And then it gets into a really weird place, man. It takes a very bizarre turn at one point, and kind of a cross-dressing turn. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. But the movie is it's odd and peculiar, and I guess if you really get into this guy's story, it's an interesting film, but I don't know. I just felt like I was watching weirdness the whole time. It never got inside my heart. And then lastly, we got from First Run Features, a really good documentary here, really, really good, Behind the Burly Q, which is a straightforward documentary about the history of burlesque. And if you don't know anything about burlesque, it's not just, Gypsy Rose Lee and strippers and, feather boas and all that stuff that's typically talked about. There really is a fascinating cultural history to this. And this does a really, really great job of kind of uncovering it and going into the nuances of it. They find all of the central figures who can give you a kind of a historical backdrop, and it is very, very interesting. It's a part of American history, American cultural history that people don't necessarily like to talk about, but it's important, and there are all kinds of ways in which this sort of informs the modern theatrical experience, both cinematically and in terms of live theater. So that is a really good doc. That's my doc pick of the week, to be honest, Behind the Burly Q, First Run Features.
Really? Yes. And would that be a good double feature with your doc?
It actually would, to be honest, with Schlock. Yes, thank you for handing that over. Yes, it would. Yes, it would, Mark. Schlock, The Secret History of American Movies.
Oh, I hate country music, so I hate country strong. And that's the first thing we'll talk about in new movies.
Why was this song nominated for an Oscar?
I don't know.
That was terrible.
But you know why? Because I think they wanted Gwyneth Paltrow to sing on the award ceremony. This is a terrible movie that was directed by a woman named Shauna Fest. Now, Shauna Fest, her first film was a very interesting movie that I think Wade and I kind of both liked, called The Greatest. And The Greatest was an interesting film from 2009, and with Carey Mulligan and Pierce Brosnan. And she winds up following it up with this country music thing. Garrett Hedlund, Gwyneth Paltrow plays this, whatever drunken country star, and Tim McGraw is her husband manager, and there's a big comeback, and it's all just so terrible.
Fabulous.
I don't like country music. I don't see the point in this. And this story's been done a million times before, better. The Blu-ray looks fine. Special features include the original ending, which is frankly not as... it's frankly better than the one that they wound up with. Some deleted scenes, a couple of music video things, and it's just bad times. There's a couple Blu-ray exclusives, which is nice, but in terms of spending the extra bucks, these Blu-ray exclusive extras, not worth the bucks.
You know what, Mark, my favorite film of last year? I know you love this too.
You're not going to give me anything this week.
No, the King's Speech, baby.
You're mean.
Best Picture winner, 4 Academy Awards. I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, even when Social Network was running the table and everyone said, Social Network's going to win everything, I said, don't count out the King's Speech. And sure enough, the Weinsteins, they came right up the gut. They did an amazing strategy for promoting the film with the guilds, and they pulled it out, and this thing wound up winning 4 Academy Awards. Should have won more, but you know what? There you go. The story of how King George, father of Queen Elizabeth, great-grandfather of the guy who doesn't have any hair
Steve?
that I was talking about a second ago.
Alex Rodriguez?
No, the British hairless.
Oh,
the hairless,
Prince, the guy with the teeth.
Yeah, the guy with the teeth, exactly. Yeah, anyway, his great-grandfather had a stuttering problem, played by Colin Firth, won an Oscar for it. Jeffrey Rush plays Lionel Logue, the Australian who helped him get over it. Very miracle workery, very My Fair Lady / Pygmalion-y, but a great film just the same. This was sent to us on Blu-ray and DVD. I have to say, forget about the DVD. Throw it away. Toss it. Don't even think about it. This is a movie made for Blu-ray, movie spectacularly well shot, unbelievably good photography, not just because it's well lit and it's got cool lens. No, it's the way things are composed in this movie. We've talked about it before. All the kind of off-center compositions. It's incredibly well shot. Blu-ray serves this movie like a great butler serving a billionaire. I don't know what that means. But the coolest stuff on here actually are some of the extras that give you orientation regarding the real King George VI and the real Lionel Logue, and it is very educational. So it's not just all making a featurette stuff where the actors go, blah, 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 the script, nice to work with Tom Hooper, blah, 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 blah. Sick of that stuff. Really, honestly, all that EPK nonsense. Forget it. The commentary with Tom Hooper, pretty good. I expected better, to be honest, but it's really good. It's very commentary-y. So he does the commentary thing. I'd like for him to be maybe a little more lively, but he's forthcoming and doesn't give you as many. He doesn't pull the veil back from all of his tricks, which I don't think we have a right to expect him to do. But very good, just the same.
You know who my favorite Hooper is? Not Tom Hooper, but the Hal Needham film Hooper, starring Burt Reynolds as aging stuntman Sonny Hooper.
Why on earth would you even go there?
Fiddler on the Roof, 40th anniversary Blu-ray of Fiddler on the Roof. Why'd you give this to me?
Because you're Jewish.
Because I'm Jewish?
Yeah, absolutely.
You are so...
I just wanted to get some kind of a joke. I thought you'd have some kind of joke that
sort
goes
of Semitic joke. To go with this.
Something that goes around the people that those of us who are Gentiles don't ever hear.
Well, wait,
something where like my uncle Shecky used to say about Tevye.
Well,
I don't hear those things.
Well, why don't you tell us the first syllable of the last name of the person who directed this film?
Jew.
What?
Funny thing is, Norman Jewison is not Jewish.
No, he's not.
I moderated an event with Norman Jewison at the Skirball, which oddly enough is affiliated with the LA Jewish community, and it was very funny. Jewison was at the time. I can't even remember what movie we screened, but it was funny. He was talking a lot about when he was asked to direct Fiddler on the Roof, and he said to them, he goes, it had been a huge Broadway hit, and he said. You know that despite my name, I'm not Jewish, right? Like that's what he thought. He thought, oh my gosh, they came to me just because the first syllable of my last name is Jew, and they must think I'm Jewish. And he's the perfect guy. His name even has Jew in it. Like let's get him to direct Fiddler. Like that's what he was thinking. And they're like, oh no, we just like you as a director. We think you're. I think to this day he still wonders whether or not the job was offered to him for that reason. But anyway,
he did a great job.
He did an unbelievable job, incredible job. This is, as far as I'm concerned, this is kind of the last of the great Broadway musical adaptations. It was 1972. It was 3 years after Oliver won Best Picture. This was nominated for Best Picture, but the big musical adaptations kind of died out after this. The big Broadway adaptations, and you had them all through the 60s, My Fair Lady and The Sound of Music, and on and on and on.
Well, Cabaret.
Cabaret also roughly around the same time, but Cabaret was made the same year, wasn't it? Wasn't it Fiddler on the Roof and Cabaret about the same year? Check it up there. Look it up, Mark. Do that.
Cabaret?
Get on that.
Cabaret? Cabaret was 19... Actually, Fiddler was 1971. Cabaret was 1972.
So there they are. It's the end of the era with those two films. But
yes, by the way, I know I said Cabaret.
Yes, I know. Yeah,
no
Cabernet.
letters. No letters at Digigods.com.
Cabernet. Yeah, that's my
Cabernet.
Cabernet.
Which you've never had in your life.
Never. Gods at Digigods.com. No, Fiddler on the Roof is wonderful. And what Jewison does so well here is that he understands that when you're taking a musical and you're moving it from the milieu of the stage to the screen, you have to open it up, as they did with The Sound of Music. If you're looking on the stage, you're not looking at the Alps, you're not looking at Nazis and the scope of World War II in The Sound of Music. If you're making the movie, you had better open it up. You had better see some Alps, and you'd better see some scale and some cathedrals and legions of Nazis, and you know what I mean? You got to give him that stuff, and he did. Robert Wise did that in The Sound of Music. What do you do with A Fiddler on the Roof? You immerse us in the era of anti-Semitic Tsarist Russia, and you really let us feel it, and he does. We feel the shtetl, and we feel the community, and we feel the Tsarist troops, and we feel Starsky in his only major screen performance.
Yes,
and
awesome.
Yeah, you were wondering where I was going with all that setup, weren't you?
Paul
Michael Glaser, man. Paul Michael Glaser.
No, but he's
great.
But he was credited as Michael
Glaser. I know. Yes.
Excellent.
Just a few years later, he became Starsky, and now he sells something on TV.
Now Topol, who played Tevye, he
so
recently, Topol, a couple of years ago, he actually did his farewell tour as Tevye.
Yeah.
And obviously he's very old now. He was born in 1935, so he's too old to be doing this sort of stuff anymore. But he did his farewell tour, which came through LA,
Yep.
and it was very popular, and that was great. But you're right. This is it, man.
This is it. This is the deal. Well, you get a Norman Jewison and Topol commentary both on the Blu-ray and the DVD. This is a dual set. This is a combo set, Blu-ray and DVD together, 40th anniversary. But all the really juicy stuff, forget about the DVD. You'll show it to the kids in the car maybe. But all the great stuff here is on the Blu-ray, and it's great. It's the commentary is terrific. It's perspective gives you the years that have gone by. It's given Jewison a lot to chew on and a lot to talk about, and the same for Topol. It's just wonderful.
And by the way, Topol is also the smoker's tooth polish.
That's true. Thank you. Boy, you're ripe today, aren't you?
You remember Topol and the smoker's tooth polish?
Yes, I do.
Is that still around?
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Topol, the smoker's tooth polish.
Maybe we should ask a smoker. Gods@digigods.com. Email us. Tell us if you use Topol, if you're a smoker. Anyway, a lot of great featurettes on here, mostly retrospective stuff, but
he was tooth polish, not toothpaste.
What I really enjoy, there's a storyboard featurette on here, which is always interesting, especially for older films. There's a thing here on the production design, which I found very, very compelling, because this film was like from an era when they really went to town in production design. They don't do that for movies a lot anymore. Sci-fi movies, yes, but period films, we just haven't gotten many where there's just that real opulence, where they just kind of dive in to give you just this, immerse you in the costumes and everything, and it's beautifully done.
Well, the thing is that nowadays scope is used to convey, marauding aliens and space vistas and sucker punch. It's not really used to convey, these grand Dr. Zhivago, Fiddler on the Roof type scenes. They just don't do that anymore.
But they need to. I want those movies again. Bound to be a little bit lost in this week's releases, but it shouldn't be, is the Blu-ray DVD digital copy combo release of The Incredibles. Probably still my favorite Pixar film. I love this. I cannot get enough of this movie. And Brad Bird, when he went and joined Pixar, kind of added a new layer to their outreach, because Brad Bird does not make regular Pixar films. Brad Bird, of course, the animator who did the Iron Giant the conventional way, and then his friends who were all working at Pixar said, come up here, do it the CGI way. And, of course, he's like, wherever I can get a movie made, I'll do it. And he has so far given us The Incredibles and Ratatouille, both of which are great, and they don't feel like other Pixar films. They don't feel like, Finding Nemo and Toy Story and whatnot. They have that Brad Bird sensibility, and they're longer. They're all like 2 hours long. I mean, he really works on his scripts. And that's what I love about The Incredibles. The Incredibles is just an absolutely sensational film, obviously about this superhero family where, Mr. Incredible, he's given up the superhero lifestyle. He's all domesticated. And, of course, the rise of a new nemesis causes him to have to sort of don the suit again. And it's interesting. It talks, it uses the whole superhero context to say a lot about family and individuality and being who you're going to be and fitting in and, can you still realize your dreams late in life. And it's really very poignant. I love this movie. And it is an incredible Blu-ray transfer.
I don't get it.
All the digital stuff. I mean, look, the audio, the picture, just assume it's because it was done digitally, it's going to look unbelievable on Blu-ray.
Look at that nasty yellow stain. That's what smoking just one cigarette can do to your teeth. That's why you need Topol, the smoker's tooth polish.
Whatever.
That was the commercial.
Mark,
I remember years ago, I went to Las Vegas. I have a friend in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And she's a bartender, and she's now in nursing school.
Yes.
And this is probably, maybe 7 years ago. She says to me, there is a literary property I think should be redone or should be made into a film. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, what could this be, Mrs. Bartender? What literary property would you like to see made into a film? You know what she says?
Huh.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Okay.
Which for some reason brings us to Narnia.
This has become such a troubled franchise.
It really has. Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
It's on, there is a regular DVD, And then there is one of those 3 bangers, which is just really annoying because it's the Blu-ray, the DVD, and a digital copy. And by the way, if you know anybody who has ever used a digital copy for anything ever,
no.
Write us.
Some of our listeners have written us before and said, "Well, I send that to my kids, or I occasionally will use it to this and that or whatever." But it just does not seem to be a widespread. And in the era of streaming, I'm not sure that it's going to. There's no standard for digital copy is the problem. No, this is really unfortunate. This is a totally troubled franchise at this point, and this film underperformed. Each one has performed less impressively than the previous, and after the first 2, Disney dropped it. Disney stepped away from this, and
because Princess Caspian did not do well.
Well, and also because Walden Media, that's Philip Anschutz, the mega billionaire who is very reclusive and owns lots of sports franchises and venues. He owns Staples Center here in L.A., where the Lakers and the Kings and the Clippers play, and he owns Home Depot Center, where the L.A. Galaxy play soccer, and where they have a lot of tennis tournaments. And he's like big in sports, owns a lot of MLS franchises. And Walden Media is his production company. They launched with Around the World in 80 Days with Jackie Chan and that British guy. What's his name? That dude.
Prince Charles.
Yeah, no, the Coogan.
Steve Coogan.
Yeah, Steve Coogan. Anyway, which sort of bombed, but then Chronicles of Narnia did huge, and then the second Chronicles of Narnia did less huge. Disney dumped them, and now they're working with Fox. And I don't, at this point, honestly, I'm not sure there's going to be a 4th film.
There's not. There are 7 books in the Narnia, universe.
But at one point they thought, oh my gosh, we've got ourselves it's somewhere halfway between Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, where we've struck gold. C.S. Lewis, Christians will come out in droves to see these movies. Look what they did for the Passion of the Christ. It's gold mine. It hasn't been.
It's weird for a major studio to pick up the sloppy seconds of
another studio.
Yeah. I'm not sure what Fox was thinking. I mean, I guess Fox was thinking if they can make it cheap enough, it'll be fine.
Or that they somehow were able to strike a deal with Walden that if they put in a certain amount of P&A, it all comes down to the numbers. It comes down to accounting, and if the numbers make sense, they're going to do it.
Right.
But anyway, well, we've talked too much about this thing already. But if you really are a C.S. Lewis fan, Voyage of the Dawn Treader is probably the least interesting of this series so far. So
Michael Apted is directing the 4th one, The Magician's Nephew, which comes out in 2013, also by Fox.
Theoretically,
and we'll see what happens.
Well,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, it's funny because Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe got a 75% overall on Rotten Tomatoes. Prince Caspian got a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. Dawn Treader got 50%. So 75 to 67 to 50%.
Yeah.
These movies are they're just frittering away as far as the critics are concerned.
Unreal. The Warner Archives. You can find all these films at WarnerArchive.com. That's WarnerArchive.com. But that's all their burn to own stuff, where you order it and then they burn it for you. They just introduced a new title, which I had completely forgotten about. Mark, do you remember Abbott and Costello Meet Captain Kidd?
That's the one where Abbott and Costello meet Captain Kidd.
You've seen it. Yeah. I had totally forgotten that this existed. It is not one of the better Abbott and Costello films, because there is a boxed set of Abbott and Costello stuff that was released not too long ago. This is one of the kind of outliers, but it isn't terrible. Charles Laughton shows up as Captain Kidd, and it's got some funny moments. So if you are a completist, it's out. Just letting you know, you're probably not going to find it very easily. Obviously, not in any stores or a lot of online e-tailers, but I believe Amazon will have it. And obviously, if you go to WarnerArchive.com, you will find it there. Amusing in fits and starts, I would say.
And I will not stop you from saying that.
Thank you. Before we get over to a couple of foreign things, just winding up a little bit here. Tracy and Hepburn, the Definitive Collection. This is all 9 films and a bonus 10th disc in one boxed set.
Really?
From Warner Brothers. Yeah, they went and did all 9 films that they appeared in together. Now,
Woman of the Year, The Keeper of the Flame, Without Love, The Sea of Grass, State of the Union, Adam's Rib. They didn't do very many good films together.
See, that's the thing.
Mike, Desk Set, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, really, you got Adam's Rib, Desk Set, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Pat and Mike.
Woman of the Year.
Pat and Mike.
Pat and Mike.
Yeah. But again, look, it's just because they made movies together does not mean that you need all of them. Look, like I said, Woman of the Year, Pat and Mike, Adam's Rib, to some degree, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. But yeah, a lot of this stuff is just not remarkable. Without Love, Sea of Grass, State of the Union, Keeper of the Flame, Desk Set. These are not great movies. So I get what Warner is doing here, but it's not. It's a judgment call. Make sure you know what you're getting into. Don't look at this on the shelf and just go, "Oh my gosh, Tracy Temper, all of them," and do an impulse buy. It's not going to serve you well, because some of these movies, if you watch them once, you'll only ever watch them once. So you might be better just buying the individual titles that you like. Colin Firth did a movie called Summer in Genoa, directed by Michael Winterbottom, also starring Catherine Keener. Pretty good movie. I don't think this ever got a theatrical release, Mark.
Well, it's not like Colin Firth is a popular actor. Well, although I do love Michael Winterbottom. I'm a big fan.
This was made obviously before he was suddenly amazing and Oscar-winning and all that stuff. It is it's pretty conventional, to be honest. It's about a guy who's just sort of trying to deal with something that basically trying to hold his family together. It's kind of a courtship of Eddie's father type thing done Winterbottom, but he there's a movie, I'm trying to remember what it is. It's like a Cary Grant movie that has a very similar plot, I think.
Star Wars?
Although I think it's more of a
Star Wars,
or maybe it's a Rock Hudson movie. I can't remember, but it has a very similar plot. Anyway,
Star Wars?
He's got two daughters. They move from Chicago to Genoa, and Genoa kind of infuses their souls and helps them heal and all this kind of stuff. I won't fill you in with any of the little details, but it's Catherine Keener is very good. Colin Firth is very good. Script is okay. It's surprisingly conventional for Michael Winterbottom, but the only reason that this is being released right now, and this came out, I think it was released theatrically in the UK back in 2008, the only reason this is being released right now on DVD is, frankly, because he's an Oscar winner now, and obviously they see a chance at marketing this. From E1 Entertainment, by the way. They see a chance at marketing this in a way that they couldn't before, because they can say, oh, Oscar winner Colin Firth. Like 3 months ago, they wouldn't have had a chance to actually get any attention on this. I mean, look, we're talking about it, right?
Well, that's because we are cool.
All right, Mark, last two things here are a couple of Blu-rays from Criterion Collection. Le Cercle Rouge, the Jean-Pierre Melville gangster film, has been out on DVD. It is now out on Blu-ray, all the same extras. Really great. 1970, this was one of Melville's last kind of really great, gritty movies, and it is awfully good. Worth having on Blu-ray for sure. And let's spend the last little bit of the show talking about White Material, which is a terrifically good Blu-ray, but I think it's a film that you are quite fond of.
I am.
The Claire Denis film.
It's a film by Claire Denis is such a talented director, and her last film was 39 Shots of Rum, which I thought was equally terrific. And here, Isabelle Huppert is just fantastic. I don't know why she shouldn't get nominated for an Academy Award. She lives in Africa, and she runs a coffee plantation, and the plantation is just crumbling. Her family owns it. And the whole point is that there's a civil war in Africa at the time, and so she's trying to kind of put her family life back together, including her her ex-husband, played by Christopher Lambert, who's not bad. And what's great about the film is that, Claire Denis does not approach this like some sort of a thriller where you get this woman who's in this war-torn area, and she's trying to save her coffee plantation, her family, and her life, because it's so dangerous there. It winds up being very very evocative and gripping and almost dreamy, and you get a sense of colonialism sort of in its kind of death throes. And I just loved how Huppert and Denis kind of combined to create this character who is sort of like, so much of the performance is without dialogue.
That's
and you
great.
get this woman who is just lost. She's lost in time. She's lost. She doesn't know where her future is. She doesn't know why Wade wants me to hurry up.
Because we're near the end of the show.
Okay, fine.
But that's it. That's good. White Material. I love Isabelle Huppert, and that's now on Blu-ray from Criterion. Go get it. Get you some Criterion. You can email us at gods@digigods.com, and we will be here all week, and we will see you next week.